Good morning, good evening, or good afternoon, depending on where and when you're watching this broadcast. I'm Thomas Fessler, my friends, and this is Disclosure Tonight. Happy Friday, December 26th, Boxing Day, the day after Christmas. Hopefully you all had a great holidays, my friends. Merry Christmas and everyone. And hey, we got a new year heading our way in less than a week. On that note, let's go ahead and welcome in our audience. Who the heck we have out there in our live chat right now? Let's take a look and see, and I'll welcome you in. Well, we got April's here along with Craig Smith. Eric Roth and the Gurus is here along with Firefly and Captain K. Who else is out there? Let's take a look and see. We've got Firefly, Geraldine DeRazio, Grateful Bunny, Benny is around, along with Kay Northrup, Kathy, and Kelly Broughton with piercing blue eyes. Good to see you, Kelly. Laura Campbell's here along with Meninopolis, Mississippian. Niles Guy is here, resident Pitbull. Watch out, folks. He's got that wrench and he knows how to use it. The real Mr. X is here along with Rough Ready Sam. I got Rainstorm Hunter. Good to see you, my friends, popping up as I'm trying to read through the list. Who else we have out there? We've got Sam, Stargazer, Steve Mateo. Good to see you, my friend. Who else is out there? Super Unknown, Truckin' Pawpaw, Turtlehead 420. Good to see you, as well as Two Midgets on a Horse, Woody Clar, X42B, and Yankee 5858. How about that? On that note, let me go ahead and jump into the back and welcome in our dear friend Mike. Where is that at? Here we go. Mike, how the hell are you, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing well. This is the first day after Christmas. I hope everybody out there enjoyed the time spent with friends and family. I know I did. And now we're getting back to business. Time to go to work. Time to make the donuts. Oh,
yeah, I got to believe it. I get a picture of Moose yesterday from time well spent at the relatives for Christmas presents and dinner and everything. It was a great time and a great opportunity I have to have to go ahead and share Moose with us. On that note, Mike, yeah, there were some interesting things going on in the land of disclosure these days. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
Representative Burlison came out with some interesting comments with regards to that hit piece that was kind of orchestrated by Jay on Project Unity over on the Joe Rogan show, Mike. What the heck is up with that?
I don't know. I got to tell you, I wasn't expecting that to come from a platform like Joe Rogan's.
Right.
He's usually a lot more cautious about what he will actually allow people to say on his show. Mm-hmm. And certainly something to do with social media troll warfare. I didn't think would qualify.
Yeah,
to be honest. But that's what we got. All of this anti-Lou troll false narratives that you and I have been dealing with for years now ended up on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Right. And
it was pretty shitty.
And the same story keeps on going. They're attacking Lou. They're attacking anyone who surrounds him in the aura, including cancer researchers and someone who's making a great contribution, actually losing money working on disclosure, Dr. Gary Nolan.
Right. That's right. He has been doing research recently on ovarian cancer, and he's made some breakthroughs. But they're not allowing for the scientific aspect or the work that he does as being legitimate. Instead, they want to turn it into, again, drag everything into that cesspool with their false narratives and the troll wars that go on social media, on X.
Yeah. You know, in responding to the lies and disinformation, misinformation, putting it out there, saying Lou's pattern of grooming mentally unstable UFO fanatics to dox, harass, and threaten people and their families for going outside of the controlled government. Man, the guy loses it. I mean, he's just attacking Lou left and right. That'd be RPK himself, Mr. Fedrand Koala. Yeah.
Yeah.
Going off on it. And the dangerous part is, let me go ahead and bring it up here, is we've got a reply tweet that came from good old no one other than Eric Burlison. Remember, we had Representative Anna Polina Luna also replying to tweets coming from Chupacabra.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And that was going on, if you remember, during the government shutdown. And she was home on her government laptop, surfing all over X.
Yeah.
And she was supporting the content that they were putting out there. while she was receiving $3,382 a week
Yeah.
to go and support the Twitter trolls. Amazing.
Yeah.
That we have sitting members of Congress that are spending our
Right,
taxpayers' dollars with this shit.
But we got to look at this. Burlison is coming out and saying, and these thoughts are that I've had as well. I think we need to be open to all possibilities on the topic and be extremely skeptical. If anything, I'm going to be extremely skeptical. What Burlison's saying here is, if anything, Burlison, if he had anything between those ears besides a flashlight shining through, you should be able to have the opportunity to actually realize who he's actually cohorting with.
Well, that's true, because something you and I realized a long time ago in dealing with these trolls, this is an orchestrated effort. And it's not something that people in the position that they're in would be able to do all on their own. This has to be coming from someplace for a guided direction and funding. So we know that there's a there, like Lou likes to say. And I guess that's the point you were leading up to, right?
Yeah. Let me go ahead. And I think, Mike, we've got a good idea of who could potentially be working together on this. But I know, Brian, you have your hand up for a second, but looking hand in hand, I just hope, Mike, we've heard different quotes coming from Burlison in the past, going ahead and, if you want to call it, saying that the Tic Tacs came from Lockheed.
Can I guess who it is?
Oh, go ahead. I got the picture ready to pop up.
Based on the way Jay was talking on Joe Rogan's show, I'm going to take a guess and say, is it Greer?
Bing, 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 bing.
Yes,
that would be our guess.
DC Muscle Wolf from the man from Washington, D.C.
Well, he used to be from D.C. He moved away from there and put his own.
Eric Burlison is in Washington, D.C.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Brian, you had your hand up a second ago?
Yeah, I kind of agree with what you're saying. I do watch a lot of Joe Rogan and listen to what he's going to say. And when Jay brought up the fact that I think that Gary Nolan is a disinfo agent or what have you, that's where Rogan, who doesn't really push back a lot. He's very congenial. He's very cordial to all his guests. But you could kind of tell that kind of irked him a bit, because he was a big fan of Nolan when he was on his podcast.
Right.
And I thought that's where he lost to Rogan. And that was right at the end of the podcast. And I thought that was an interesting spot that he chose to just bring that up randomly.
Yeah.
Gary Nolan's been one of the great fighters for Disclosure. I mean, I've met and shook Blue's hand before. You guys talk about them all the time. I don't know where that came from. Well, I mean, I have an idea, but yes, you are showing it on your screen right now. It was just a little odd and out of place, I thought.
Yeah.
I guess to say the least, as Mike said.
But even some of the stuff that was even coming up on X today, they've been going and attacking Gary, even for his groundbreaking research that he did and got grants for on ovarian cancer, trying to paint him as a grifter.
Right.
Yeah. And if I may add, too, as well, referring to the congressmen and women, I think that some of these are really good champions. I think they're either getting bad intel, that their staffers are not working for them properly. I think they need to be much better informed than they are. And, that's nobody's fault but their own. The buck stops at them. But I think they're getting bad info.
Well, generally, you should be vetting what you're saying before you would say it, I would hope. At least for someone in a position of a standing U.S. congressman. But then again, this isn't the first time.
Quoting some of the internet trolls that they are, I think, is probably a little bit beneath them. For example, you wouldn't want them quoting me, right? I don't think that's a good idea.
No, I hear you, Mike.
No, Brian is absolutely right. Listen, we wouldn't want Eric Burlison or Jay Anderson repeating us on the Joe Rogan podcast. There's no reason for that. So the fact that they did that, like you said, it's a very bad look, Brian, for a congressman. It just doesn't look right.
Yeah.
Then you got to ask, what's behind that? Where is that coming from? Because it wasn't by accident. It wasn't at random. It was specific. They knew what they were saying.
It was planned.
They knew why they're saying it. Yeah, it was absolutely planned. So this isn't somebody misspoke.
No,
They knew damn well what
it
they're
was
saying.
purposeful intent. Just like later today, we have even Jay Anderson actually calling out Grush, saying that those 40 whistleblowers that Grush wanted to bring forward never existed. What the hell? You gotta be fucking kidding me.
Who said that?
Jay Anderson.
Jay Anderson.
Can I ask you guys something about Jay? I don't know the guy too well, but I
Well,
watched the podcast. Is this guy? It almost seemed like he was really bitter that Elizondo kind of called out Greer for being that guy who, you know, drops flares out of the sky.
Well, he did in Florida. At least supposedly they tracked down when he had his event, and there was a flight school that actually had a flight path directly in that area that showed specifically where the flares were dropped. Now, the person wouldn't answer the questions on it, but however, it really looked like it was a paid, orchestrated event. Because come on, think about it. We're talking about a non-human intelligence that is far superior to humanity, right? Why in the fuck would they think we can go ahead and control these like dolphins or killer whales in a seaquarium?
Yeah, you can't.
You can't.
Right.
Does Greer charge money to
Oh, God, yeah.
To $10,000 a seat. He charges a lot of money.
That's wow.
So for people that are sitting in those rentable chairs, those beach chairs, and you're out in the middle of the night, you got to see something for that money. If he didn't have those flares floating down on a parachute, these people would have wanted their money back. He had to do something. Problem is, after he pulled that stunt, he got caught. So that's called grifting 101.
Yeah. Here we go, Mike. Here's the tweet from Jay Anderson today saying, I'm going to make a bold claim.
Yeah.
The 40 UFO whistleblowers that we kept on being told about do not exist. They're made up. They're not real.
Well,
he seems to be going after all the different aspects of modern disclosure. And, you know, let's be honest. If Lou Elizondo didn't come out in 2017, I doubt Jay would even be here talking about this today.
he wouldn't.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, too. He's very bitter and twisted because
Yeah.
when Jay first came out, he was doing some pretty good interviews, like the one he did with Oak Shannon, and got the information
Yeah.
on the Wilson Davis memo from Oak Shannon. And people paid attention to him. But then he went through a meltdown and he lost his core audience because he got into the Greer CE5 consciousness angle. The aliens are our friends. And then he's telling people that they should drink their own urine to harmonize their bodies, to be in tune with their consciousness.
I think it was even going ahead and quoting Bible's quotes from the Bible on that one.
Right. And he's telling everybody he drinks his own urine daily.
Well, I've never heard that one. I've seen his post out there, but if that was said in the past.
That's what he said. But then a couple of weeks ago, someone called him out on it. And he said that he doesn't actually drink his own urine, but it was something that he was told. So he just repeated it.
And where did he hear that at, Mike? Do we know?
Wherever he was practicing his CE5.
Oh.
That's where he was told to harmonize one's body by drinking one own urine.
Well, CE5, isn't that usually promoted by Greer?
Yeah, it is. The DC Muscle Wolf himself.
Wow.
Who was a medical doctor. So he also knows, and any medical doctor will tell you that if you did ever end up accidentally or otherwise drinking your own urine, it doesn't really harm you.
No.
Babies in the womb are floating in it, and it doesn't harm them. So DC Muscle Wolf is telling his CE5 instructees that they should drink their own urine. It wouldn't shock or surprise me.
Interesting. I never would have thought it would go that deep.
Yeah. It seems to all link back to the same source and place where all of this has been going on for quite some time now.
Almost sounds like something a sovereign citizen would be saying, not necessarily a doctor, but Either way, it is what it is.
But look, here's the thing. Unlike Dr. Gary Nolan, Dr. Stephen Greer hasn't actually practiced medicine in decades. So he's not a functioning, working doctor.
Right. But he does supplant his income with the stuff that he has from his disclosure or consciousness or disclosure organizations that he has out there. And he makes much more probably doing this than he could have ever done being a ER
An emergency
doctor.
room doctor.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, look, when you're an ER doctor and you go in for a shift, they're not paying you $10,000 a seat to the people who are sitting there.
Now, wait a minute. If they're accusing Nolan of grifting and getting this money for cancer research,
right?
What does it say to you about the opposite side here?
It's grifting. Dr. Stephen Greer is taking money for nothing.
Yeah. Wouldn't, like, I'm not too sure what grifting means, but wouldn't, like, if you charge like 5 or 10 racks,
defrauding.
So if you charge 5 or 10 racks to get flares that drop out of the sky, that would be grifting, right?
That would be stealing. That would be fraud. Correct. That's correct.
First Contact, if you have a link for that post, I guess he also marketed a $29.99 diabetes self-test for drinking urine. I'm not sure who did that, but I didn't even know they had tests like that out there, Mike. That's surprising.
I didn't.
No.
I don't think it's scientifically accurate either. Are you supposed to see if it's sweeter than normal?
Does it have that metallic kind of a taste to it?
Right. Does it taste like shit? Something been going on, extracurricular activities.
Yeah.
I mean, leave it to DC Muscle Wolf to come up with a harebrained scheme like that.
Oh, gosh, yeah. But if we can, in the back, I did see Gene pop your hand up there for a second.
Yeah, I was just going to jump in, number one on the urine question. So I think, Jay, anyone else, I don't know if Corporal Abe's around today. It is certainly a survival tactic that is taught that in emergency situations, that fresh urine, yes, is clean enough that can be consumed, although, it does contain wastes of other things, and so shouldn't be done on a regular basis. Public disclosure, public safety disclosure, I guess. As for the rest of this, it's fascinating to me to watch, because I'm one personally, I take a step back, right?
Right.
And so first and foremost, it's, consider the source, right? And what is the source's job? So, he's a media figure. He's got to, I've said this with many of the figures around, not to take sides, right? Who is truly being an investigative journalist? Who are access journalists, meaning that their ability to generate content depends upon access that they have. And, it seems that these are the voices that we have to follow, right? These are like the choices that we have are following people who are releasing information based upon the connections that they have, or people who are simply challenging without bringing anything of their own to the table. It's almost as though we've got, the sources that we have as the sources of truth, or to reference, or to build any of our analysis and assessment on, fundamentally all come out of the government, for the most part. What are we looking at? We're always looking at reports and declassified information, or people that had previously worked in government. There's a smaller amount that seems to be coming out of independent research, but still without the provenance necessarily for it to be conclusive one way or another. So it seems like this is much more of a media fight, and within that media fight, it's just finding a position that as a media creator allows them to continue creating. And so whether or not it's necessarily factual, whether or not it moves the bar in any way, it just seems like coming out with something. So just like that post Thomas was sharing about, I don't think that, well, great, that's an opinion. That's, and why now is like everybody's opinion a headline? That's what I struggle with in this.
It's kind of like, how would I say this here? Let me find the right one. There's an old saying of everyone's an asshole. There actually, what was the old saying that my dad used to say about this?
Assholes. Everyone has asshole?
No. My dad usually said everyone's an asshole. They're either everyone out there has two assholes. They're either speaking out one or the other. So
right, that's right.
Yeah,
good point.
I mean, and it's it's just it's like difficult. It's difficult to map. It's difficult to get to. And I think everybody agrees, right? Things come forward. And you challenge it. Does it stand? Does the information stand up to scrutiny? Does it fall within a structure that makes sense, or is it just an opinion? Does it just does it lead to feelings and just more people I've got to follow versus I have something now I can work with and test and prove, or that falls in line with something else. And it's just like all of this seems to be getting lost in all of these arguments about, this quest for who's right about things that ultimately nobody has the answers to.
Well, that's true. And instead of working to try to achieve some of those answers, they, and Thomas and I have talked about this for a long time. Every time disclosure grinds to a halt, there's nothing new going on. The trolls like to create drama like a Jerry Springer episode. There's nonstop bitching and fighting and going after each other because that's the entertainment.
Okay,
that's
which side has the skinheads with slinging the folding chairs?
Oh yeah, we need.
That's what he's known for. That's the episode everyone always talks about in this.
Right.
And I'd say it'd be the opposite side, but yeah.
Right. There's that, and that's why I say, and then we fall into this cycle of it looks like we just recycle old stories,
right?
Or because to me it's like, okay, the things Lou's brought forward, and then he had to backtrack on. Okay, great. So you can dismiss that, right? So you can say, okay, that set of photos, it doesn't necessarily mean everything is. It's like it's one or the other. There's no discernment. There's no individual assessment to say, okay, here's all of the information. It's almost like having a in the intel world, or Mike, even in criminal investigations, right? You have some sources, and sometimes the information they give you is spot on, and sometimes the information they give you isn't spot on or is just wrong because they just needed a quick $50 that week, or whatever it is. And so as the investigator, you need to discern all of this information, but you don't throw it all out. You place it where it belongs, and you continue to measure the value of it as more information is developed. And it just behooves me that with any of these figures from which we are gathering information, that there are people who just say, no, blanket throw everything out that they say. And it's like that is counterproductive to what it is you say that you're trying to get to, which then, you have to start assessing their own methods and motivations, and okay, well, what are they trying to get out of it? And, for most of them, it comes down to, well, they're just trying to generate clicks and shares and engagement on posts. And whether they believe it, it doesn't necessarily matter, because the value to them is simply the engagement, right? And that's, why did the whole troll industry, get established in the first place? Because it doesn't matter whether or not you believe what you're posting. It's, can you get people to engage? And if you can post something that gets 500 other people arguing about it and you don't even have to engage with it again, that becomes a high value post. Because the analytics of X and Facebook and Instagram, any of them, the analytics don't distinguish themselves between quality.
But if you go ahead and enough people report posts for different reasons, the X system does pick it up and starts to automatically deprioritize the posts a lot of times, not even sending it to the majority of the people who follow that individual.
That's called shadow banning.
Yeah, correct.
Well, you can call it shadow banning. It's just deprioritization of the accounts based on their activities and what people are getting on. I guess you could call it shadow banning, but sometimes it's a necessary evil. I mean, when you have people who are going out there using pictures people don't want, videos they don't have permission for, and you repeat it, sometimes X just takes it down, but in other cases, they just deprioritize it, so it's not getting the wings that people would want, Gene?
Yeah. And I think, that's what's important for the viewers, right? Because then that means you have to be consuming with discernment as you're going through things, and recognize that, and everybody doing their part to, so it's almost, the communities are being asked to self-police themselves in that way. But I think the vast majority of users, never mind the accounts that, these burner accounts that are there to amplify or dampen messages, or the bots that are set up, they're just set up to continue that engagement, and doing things like you were talking about, it becomes, more of a mountain to cross in order to have some sort of quality control. And I just don't think the systems are there yet. And I don't think people are cognizant enough, and discerning enough to identify what is noise for the sake of engagement versus valuable information.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And a majority of the audience out there that's on social media that is listening to all of this crap, they're not discerning what's true and what's not, because for the most part, they're really there to be entertained. It's all entertainment.
Exactly.
And if they do get information that they find interesting, that could be truthful, then that's a plus. But if not, they like all of the fighting and arguing and battling and all the misinformation that goes out there, because again, it's entertainment, and that builds an audience. And for the people that are engagement farming, they are also getting paid on these platforms for ad revenue, and they're getting people that are supporting them on Patreon. Right. So they're doing it, and they're getting paid to do it if they're doing it well.
Hey, really quick, Mike. Lou has made a couple mistakes in the past. And as soon as he knew it was a mistake, he owned up to it. It's not something he tried to double down on and call it out one way or the other. He said it was a mistake. And that's one thing he'd always said he would do, is he would call it a mistake if he had it, right?
Yeah, because number one, he's a human being. He's not a machine. He's not perfect. And the other thing is that fucking photograph that people keep trying to beat him over the head endlessly about. Let me remind everybody that before he brought that photograph out, he told everyone ahead of time, look, I haven't had a chance to vet it yet. I don't know if this is legitimate or not. Judge for yourself. So he put that out there. Not like he told everybody, hey, this is the real deal. and then they found out afterwards that it wasn't. No, he let everybody know.
And as soon as
Because
he
that's
knew
what
it
Lou
was
does.
something that wasn't right, he called it back and said, okay, I made a mistake on this. But everyone, it seems like no one's allowed to make a mistake on here, especially Lou. He is a trained military counterintelligence officer, but as it said in this post, at least he was trained at that time when he had that role. But the reality is, when you're talking about Lou Elizondo, it's not Lou Elizondo Inc. or Lou Elizondo Corp. It's Lou Elizondo, sole proprietor. Period. It's Lou running by himself. He's got some help from people in his life, but for the most part, he runs everything that he does by himself. So if you're going to be doing that, you're not delegating stuff out. It's not, it's something that I got yelled at a lot by Barry Friedman today, bless his soul. But sometimes people learn, sometimes they don't. People are just who they are. They're not perfect. Remember, Mike, what was the last time you ever heard a doctor that was perfecting medicine? Never. Doctors practice medicine because they're not perfect. They make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, right?
Mm-hmm. But Lou is the first person that will tell you the information I'm putting out there, it might not be accurate.
Yeah.
I haven't checked yet. He'll tell you. He's not hiding anything. He tells everybody like it is. He doesn't tell them what they want to hear. That would make things easy. He just tells them what he knows or doesn't know and puts it all out there. And that's it. And there's nothing wrong with that. So he's the person who came forward in 2017. He's the person that's been sticking with this the entire time. None of these people who are attacking him have done anything like that. Nothing. What are they known for? Not government work, not serious work, not investigating
right, but a lot of these people,
nothing.
they claim themselves to be researchers, but really, Mike, they're more of armchair Twitter quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Are they truly, is that the same as a true researcher?
Well, now anybody can be a researcher as long as you have access to ChatGPT.
Right.
Right.
And, and the other thing, I find entertaining myself is and again, I'm not calling anybody out, but it's the personas and the other interests. It's like, it's like they get to cosplay, special agent, right? They're all trying to cosplay being an intel person, and they're learning the lingo, and they're hiding themselves, and they're talking the talk and putting things together and quote unquote researching. And again, the way in which they do it is quite entertaining. To me, I kind of sit back. It's like, oh, that's cute. You read about something and now you're trying to apply it.
Right.
But that's and I think that somewhat impacts the mentality and the things that are said, because there's almost a disassociation that these are real, these are real people, that Lou is a guy who's seemingly trying to put forward the information that he has, much like myself, right? I have information, I am putting it forward, I am trying to analyze and put it into useful tools for people to make determinations on. I never claim I'm 1,000% right. I've got a path, but the information is out there for anybody else to take and replicate and find their own conclusions. And maybe those conclusions match, maybe they expand upon it, maybe they contradict. And that should be the whole process that we are going for, and to circle back to what I was saying earlier. So when there is information that's put out there, I think we have a responsibility to to yourself personally, but to the larger community, to the people who follow you. If you are somebody who has a voice, like yourself and Thomas here, you have a voice, and you you open the door to people scrutinizing, questioning,
Right.
exploring, and then at the end of the day, you can hold on to it and add it to what you're doing, or you can dismiss it. That doesn't mean you need to ruin anybody's life over it. It doesn't mean people don't deserve to exist, or they're scammers, or they're or they're any of these other things. I laughed even myself. Somebody wrote, commented, I said something, God forbid, about Corbell or Knapp, and somebody's like, "Oh, you're a grifter." And I laughed about it. I'm like, I'm a grifter. I'm a guy. I'm a grifter because I got a book that you can read the entire thing cover to cover to free. I said, and you're saying that while you're defending some guy who makes movies and will take your $5 in a super chat as he sells T-shirts and coffee mugs and has book collections and collects speaker fees and does all the rest of it. Like, you fucking people are mental. You
don't charge anybody for when you make an appearance, Gene.
Nothing.
I know that.
And I've had people ask, and I say, if there's, and I understand sometimes with organizations, it's like you have a budget and they like have to spend it. And so the most I'll do, I'll say, you are welcome to make a donation to the opera company that we run.
Right.
And that helps the show, pay for musicians and giving stages to artists and things like that. But yeah, every dollar from the book goes there. This is not a personal, changing our tax bracket enterprise, let's say.
No, it isn't. And listen, I was in a space with Chupacabra a while ago, and he accused me and Thomas of grifting because we received super chats on the show. So at that point, I told him, have you watched the show? What do we get? A $5 super chat? And you think what? We're getting rich off of that? Well, any money that comes in goes to the production of the show, the electricity bill, to put the lights on and the computer equipment, all of this stuff. We're not making any money on this at all. We do this for free.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
I mean, and not to publish anyone's finance, but Thomas, I assume you use was it OSB that sort of allows
OBS
all these
Studio,
prep-
yeah.
OBS Studio. I had signed up for that. I think that alone was almost $300 a month.
It's actually free for OBS Studio, but the data line I have coming in to support it, I've got a 1 gigabit line, symmetrical up and down, high-end equipment, so I can push out high bit rate, really good, great quality stuff in the cameras. So although what I'm using doesn't have a monthly fee to it, everything that goes to feed that pipeline.
Yeah. Right.
Let's talk about.
And I was thinking of Restream. Because that's what
Restream is another one, and StreamYard is another one that's really popular for people to use. It's like $30, $40, $50 a month to go ahead and do it, and it's just with the
add-ons, I mean, they can get up to $200-$300 a month. Some of them.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but do you know the equipment that Thomas is using at home? It's very expensive Apple equipment, and I know because I've spent plenty of private time on the phone dealing with Thomas as he's ripping these machines down. And taking the days that we were off and redoing the equipment to get it ready for the show.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of time, money, work, effort, and we don't get paid for any of that.
Yeah.
Nothing. So this is, something we do because we want to do it.
I mean, kind of like what Gary Nolan does. Anytime that he puts into disclosure issues, he is losing money. And honestly, if I were to take and do what I do as a full-time job, Mike, I'd be pulling in $175 to $200 an hour minimum for the kind of stuff that easily. But I'm here for the audience. I'm here for the subject matter because I got pulled into this, not because I saw it was becoming popular, not because I saw a lot of people getting interested in it. It's because it was something that I've been freaking stuck in since I was 5 years old. And that's not something I ever asked for.
Right. And once the platform was out there for the audience to watch and see, the reason that we do this is to bring as much of the truth, not the bullshit, because there's plenty of that out there. You could find it anywhere. What we focus on, trying to bring the absolute truth out to the public so they can tell the difference of what they're listening to, of what's real and what isn't, out of Washington, D.C.,
Yeah.
out of our politicians, out of everything in the world around us. So that's why we do this, because we're on a mission to try to at least put up goalposts and guardrails for the public so they don't get swallowed up by all the nonsense
Now, people,
and bullshit.
Mike, someone in the chat says, I swear to God, I've wondered for years how Tom and Mike keep doing the show. I would have quit. Well, Mike, I've had that conversation with you many times saying, Mike.
Yes, I know.
Let's go ahead. And you're like, no, we're going to keep it going. We got to do this. We got this next thing. We're going to get to there and keep it going, if you want to call it. You've been this cheerleader behind the scenes to kind of, we're both actually pick each other up going down the road.
We do. We wouldn't be able to do this without each other. And that's why it lasts and why we do this for as long as we've been doing it, and we'll continue to. Because we believe in cutting through all the bullshit that's out there and at least providing a safe space for the audience to come to where they will get the truth, like it or not. Sometimes they agree with it, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
But that's okay, because at least we give them the opportunity to decide for themselves.
And you know what? We're
the
only freaking show that's been out there on YouTube that has had open viewer call-in going for years. Granted, they have stuff like this going on over in X. It's a bit different from what we do here, because anybody can come in, anybody can raise their hand. We don't have to invite them to come and join the show. They follow the link, click come through, they raise their hand, they want to say something like Brian, and we hear what they have to say. Brian, go ahead. Great example.
Yeah, speaking of that, we've been able to get, and this was always Thomas's, you've been saying this for years, that you want to cultivate this community, and we've been able to.
Because it's not about us, Brian. It's about everybody out there, really.
That's right. And so now some of your audience members have started other channels that we don't do a show like this, but we go on and we talk, and we've been able to get some great guests, that may not be suitable for the show or anything else like that. But other people can jump in and talk to them and ask them questions. And there's been some people from the X Spaces that have come over and go, wow, this is how it's supposed to be. This is the format I've always wanted, because what's on the X Spaces has been horrendous. And
it's a sewer.
Correct. It's a total sewer the last year. So anyways, Thomas, that's one of the things that has cultivated out of this. And I think a lot of people in this audience have really appreciated that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, after I went from having, if you want to call it, a bunch of different dedicated co-hosts and different things going along with the show, I open it up to viewer call-in, taking it back to that good old AM radio format my dad used to listen to in the car every time he was taking me somewhere. I always got to hear that as a kid on WBBM News Radio 78 in the Chicago suburbs, or other radio stations he'd have. And, I guess we have Art Bell and others who have done stuff like this in the space for a while, but that's the whole idea. Open the doors for anybody to come in. You don't know who that next caller is going to be and what it's going to deliver. Kean?
Yeah, and just to echo what Brian said, and further to that, even for myself, the number of people in different ways that I've talked to offline, not just spewing disinterest, who we hate, but actually like rolling our sleeves up and doing some work. Right. And pursuing those things that, we feel are trying to, we find are moving the needle in the thing, in the areas that we are trying to do it or influence it. And I just don't see that happening with people whose sole purpose is just to, it's not even
put out false narratives and sensationalism and clicks.
Yeah, it's it's like watchdog groups, right? There's even with watchdog groups, they're holding standards of accountability, but they are still advancing that cause for which they are holding politicians and others accountable to. And that doesn't seem to be happening in the where there are criticisms. And it seems just to be formed around the idea of whose media are you going to follow? You know, our media, who's full of all the truth tellers, or their media that's full of all the liars and government agents and, you know, whatever else. And it's like they're trying to create a contest on who's the arbiters of truth, it seems. And it just doesn't sit right sometimes, I feel.
No, you're right. And the running gag, the inside joke between me and Thomas for years now about the show and the audience is that we're like your local bar. It's the
Bar and
Disclosure
Grill.
Tonight Bar and Grill.
There we go.
We let the whole audience come in off the street. They have a place to come hang out. They have a drink. They talk. They share their mind. And
Sometimes they drink too much.
A little bit. Sometimes we have to cut them off.
We have to cut them off?
Yeah. But me and Thomas are the bartenders. And everybody else is welcome, and they're part of the audience. So it's a unique type of format and platform, and it's honest. And people come for the sincerity.
And it's not for everybody. We don't have the biggest audiences. We got people who come out here are regulars. And that's what a lot of times, even today, I feel like shit, you know what I is, but we're still having the show because you have to keep the lights on. You have to keep the doors open because you have an audience who wants to come together. They want to hear what's going on and different things. They want to socialize in the chat. It's all about the community.
That's right. It is. And this is why we do it. And that's why people come, because they know the difference of something that's real and authentic and the same run-of-the-mill bullshit that's out there. And that's why we do what we do.
Although there is one person we do have blocked from here. I'm sorry we had to do a Bob Berkins. Bob would come into the chat and just take over the chat, and we had to block him from the chat because he just destroyed the chat community. Sorry, Bob, if you're still watching out there. We love you, but you couldn't control yourself.
No. And it interferes with other people who are trying to engage and they can't when that kind of distraction is going on.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I know. So, but you know what? That's another reason why anyone who comes here, it's a safe space for them, because we won't allow behavior like that to go unchecked. They can have their say, and they're not going to be intimidated. So you and I do our jobs, and we keep it nice and cozy for everyone and comfortable. It's why they come.
Oh yeah.
And I just say too, you know, when it comes to the who's a Lou crew, or, you know, I don't, you know, I find you guys, you're supporters and all the rest, but you don't shy away from or try to squash any dissent of anyone who says, well, I don't agree with that. I don't think this, you know, you just let the conversations happen.
Yeah, but sometimes I am strong in my views, I have to admit.
Well, of course. I mean, you know, everybody should be, but again, it's not like, you know, you get. I mean, I think we ultimately always land on we're going to agree to disagree.
Yeah,
exactly.
And, you know, and that's it, and then everybody moves on. You know, on to the next subject. I don't think it's so, you know, militant or, you know, life or death type framing that everybody else puts it in.
Right. That's certainly not the case here. We're diplomatic, and we let everybody have their say, which is how it should be. That's really what the community, this is how it should be. It doesn't matter if you agree or disagree with somebody. You should all be working together towards the same goal, which ultimately is going to be the truth. And that's the bottom line. But that's not always the case, especially out there, and especially with the troll group. That crew, they just are out for themselves and nobody else. And that's the problem.
Yeah.
So,
and again, I think, as I said, you know, part of it is this cosplay. Part of it's trying to inject themselves into the middle of something bigger. You know, it's like they've never belonged to anything bigger than they are, right?
Right. That's
so
right.
This is their chance to feel like, you know, they're doing that in some way.
Yeah.
They're keyboard warriors, a lot of them. They've never gotten out from behind the keyboard, whereas you and I have real world experience, Gene.
Right.
And that's the key difference.
Right. Well, I laughed about Jay. I think it was Jay had posted about, well, if I disappear, again, one of those,
melodramatic.
melodramatic, right? What do we call it? Empathy farming, right?
Well, if he's talking about suicide, he should be calling his local helpline in the United Kingdom where he's based out of, because sometimes people who say that, hey, I'm not suicidal, they really might
end up
be
killing themselves. Yeah.
Well, I think he was leaning more towards the, he's going to be taken out kind of thing, right?
Well, good.
So the, getting the victim empathy, playing the potential
victim card.
But somebody responded to it, well, we're behind you. Don't you worry. If anything happens, we're coming for you. And I'm like, well, coming for you unless it involves actually getting off your ass and like walking outside and doing something, like jumping in a vehicle or on a plane to go somewhere and hit the ground and walk through the woods. Like, it's that old joke about, oh, I told my wife I'd do anything in the world for her, and she asked me to vacuum. And I'm like, no, I meant like if dragons fly in, I'll fight. I didn't mean I'm going to vacuum.
Right. I'm not going to be engaged in the real world stuff, but the fantasy make-believe, I'm there for you.
Really quick, Mike and guys, I just want to go ahead and I want to thank the people that we've got a lot of super chats coming in tonight from our audience, and I appreciate everyone's love and support of everything we do here over at Disclosure tonight. And on that note, I want to go ahead and thank people for their super chats out there. Who am I talking about? Let me turn off the auto chat for a second and thank Daryl's here for the first super chat tonight. Thank you very much, sir. Frank T, appreciate it. Shelly Montgomery, you've been around here. You're a fixture on the show. Thank you for being here. Mr. Catfish 2100, that is the fixture. Yes, I will reach out to Rick and let him know that he emailed you, replied back, trying to get a response to you, my friend. And Steve Hines, yes, we'll keep the mics live and the lights on. That's our intent. I just want to thank everyone for your love and support of what we do here. Back to you, Gene.
They're the reason we do this, Thomas. So yeah, they know we appreciate them. That's why we're here every night when we have the show on. We're here for them, not for us. So they understand that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let me turn that music off. Sorry about that, folks. There we go. Interesting conversation tonight, Mike. Who would have thought?
So far, yeah. It is. It has been. And it's the first day after Christmas, so everybody's been relaxing and spending time with friends and family, and now they all come to hang out here with us and listen to what's been going on.
Just be glad we're not in Australia right now. Top headlines: rapists attack 26 women, kids, and keeps his visa.
That's disgusting.
Yeah.
What the hell kind of a country are they running over there where they allow shit like that? I don't get it.
I don't get it either, Mike. It's just one of those things that's out there. You just have to look at this and just question your mind and what the hell is going on. We got the same shit going on in the United States all over the place in many different municipalities. Heck, we even had a state police officer get pulled out of her car by a crazy motherfucker who was on the freeway, pulled her out, threw her to the ground, and then stole her police car and took off.
Do you have that clip?
I have to find it because the ones I have now are actually from TMZ. I'll try and find the clip that's out there. Yeah, it's crazy, but Mike, I hear she is now in the running for the head of the Washington State Patrol under Governor Bob Ferguson for her great heroism.
No. Oh my God!
Joking, my friend.
Yeah, there's no way in hell that could happen.
Oh yeah. Oh God, let's hope it doesn't go to that way. Now, if I can get to another one, remember when we had those lights in Wisconsin a couple of years ago?
Yeah.
That were covered and said, oh my God, look, we got aliens flying around. Well, apparently they're in California. And what are they saying on X? In Sacramento, California, approximately 10 p.m. on Christmas Eve. Come tell me it's spotlights, lightning, or swamp gas. Like he wants us to go and challenge him. What? No, this is not real, folks. No, it's just more bullshit that's out there. It's engagement farming. It's people who know this stuff is fake and they put it out there just to go ahead. This is what Jay Anderson did for the longest time. An engagement farmer. You keep on putting engagement out on the same topic, one after the other. You're taking other people's content, putting your text along with it and putting it out there. And sure enough, you're heading towards the top.
Yeah, it's to get clicks. It's to get people's attention on bullshit.
Yeah. Now, I
This
saw.
is why people get pissed off and tired after a while, because
Yeah.
they're tired of following that, and it turns out to be, after they wasted their time, nothing but bullshit.
Oh, yeah. No, this isn't bullshit. This looks delicious. I only had one burger in New York. And I took an Uber for almost an hour to try it. Let me make sure I can get this so everyone can see this. Here we go. You can find it at a tiny pizza place in Brooklyn called Emily. Many have said this is not just the best burger in New York, but maybe the United States. I will say this is one of the best, most juiciest and flavorful burgers I've ever had. Little drip down your wrist burger that you got to enjoy. Mike, any thoughts on this one?
But that looks amazing to me. I've never tried it. I'm not familiar with Emily's Pizza Shop, but now I want to go see if I could find it. That looks really good.
Yeah, looks like a regular small place that's out there. Emily. Pizza and burgers. All right.
Now I'm going to have to find that place. I want to taste that burger. You got my, yeah, now you made me hungry.
Well, I've talked to you on the phone too many times when you've had a burger, my friend. So.
Oh, I know. I
Yeah.
love a good burger. Yep.
Yeah. Exactly. All right. Leave that one aside for now. You know what? Let's bring it up. You know, we always talk about ancient history, different things that have been going around the world for the longest time. Believe it or not,
Yeah.
Mike, they have a, let's bring this next one up here. Here we go. This is something called the mysterious 150,000-year-old bygone pipes in China. They actually have these pipes that are showing up in ancient basalt. While they're trying to say this is a natural occurrence that came from trees when the basalt was forming, Mike, does that look natural to you?
Oh, hell no.
It points back towards us there being a ancient civilization that was more advanced than we are today. We've seen many examples, but these bastards are over 150,000 years old. So humanity has been around for a long time. Maybe it's been a non-human intelligence, but you never know.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but that doesn't look naturally occurring to me
Oh,
whatsoever.
hell no. All right, what else do we've got going on here? Oh, anything else? Oh, well. I don't think we need to talk about the new police chief in Washington, in New York, do we? Nah, not yet.
Oh, God. Please don't.
Yeah, even Fettuccine Split over on X is calling out, Mike, the whole Burlison Greer thing. He
Yeah,
must
what did
know
he say?
something. Let's bring this up. Let's get to, no, here we go. No, wrong one. Where am I going to? Here we go. All right, coming from Disclosure Memes. You're seeing the Burlison Greer thing flesh itself out, right? Fuck these guys and the narrative they're selling. So a lot of people out there, Mike, besides us, who are kind of pointing towards what's going on with Burlison and saying there's a
Greer.
connection going on with good old DC Muscle Wolf, Stephen Greer.
Yeah, that's true. Well, we know that already. This is coming from someplace. It's not random.
Yeah.
It's orchestrated, and he's the one with the money to fund this. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. I know you've had issues with the mummies before
Just a little.
down in Peru. This is
Yeah.
an example that shows you a llama skull.
Uh-huh.
Now let's take the llama skull and rotate it.
Oh, look. It's a mummy.
There you go, folks. Are those the mummies or are they a llama? Some of them look real, but some of them you can tell. Yeah.
Right. If it has anything to do with Jaime Maussan, it's a llama. That's my rule of thumb.
Oh gosh, yes.
Thailand.
Oh, all right. I don't think I'll get a hit from this. This is from Twitter. Let's have some fun with this next one here.
Let's
When
do
You
it.
Are in a Country is the title of this one. Granted, I'm not bringing out the one yet that is about the new drug they have out there. Let's get this next one. I'll bring that
Good
soon.
drug.
All right. This one is called When You Are in a Country. Me, one day in Thailand.
Me one day in Thailand. Me one week in Thailand. Me one month in Thailand.
Sawadika, kapunka.
1 day in Mongolia. 1 month in Mongolia.
1 week in America. Hello. 1 month in America. Nigga, I'm working.
1 year in America. You know, I got fired from being a construction worker. Now I'm protecting the streets.
1 week in South Korea. 6 months in the South Korea. 1 year in the South Korea. 안녕하세요. Do you live alone?
First day in England. My English very little. 1 week in England. I'm sick, but I'm still okay. 1 month in England. You know what I mean? Yeah, we know everything. Yo, what's up, fam? All right. Yeah. Outside, inside, man's not hot. Jacket on, man. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh my God, it's so cold. Let's go inside. O Boże, ale zimno. Idziemy do środka. Kurwa, piździ, spierdalamy.
No change.
First day in Japan. Terrible. 6 months in Japan. 1 year in Japan.
1 day in Vietnam. 1 tuần in Vietnam. 1 tháng ở Việt Nam.
1 năm ở Việt Nam.
Yeah, X has got a lot better stuff on it sometimes than just talking about UFOs. And sometimes we have to bring that kind of stuff up and have a good laugh.
Right, because the policy here on the show for the longest time has been we're serious about not being serious.
Yeah.
And we stick to that. Good to be able to laugh at the insanity sometimes.
Oh, you have to, my absolute friend. All right. We got a little clip here of from News Nation of Representative Eric Burlison. Not Burlison, Jesus Christ. Tim Burchett. Let's play this. Yeah, I'm sorry, folks. Again, not feeling the best. I'm a little bit out of it. So let's go ahead and play this little clip of Tim Burchett up. Yeah, we're away from the funnies. Let's get into some real stuff. Here we go. Well, okay, here we go.
Bothers me that our government won't come forward with it because, you know, and the guys on the intelligence committee, I think, and gals, I think you have a few in there that just want to dissuade us from finding out what the real truth is. And I won't call them plants, but I think they're being used by some folks. They give false information and then they kind of laugh at you and me. But over 55% of the population of the United States of America thinks that we're not alone. And I think it's about time we pull the covers off this thing.
You know, Mike, I have to go ahead and say, I don't think we're going to be seeing Burchett pull into this bullshit fest that's been going on with Luna and Burlison. What say you?
Well, because we know firsthand that Tim is not like Luna and Burlison, and he takes everything that he does very seriously. And as far as engagement farming or social media trolls, he doesn't involve himself with any of that bullshit. No reason to. So I don't expect to see Tim Burchett mimicking and repeating everything that we hear coming from the trolls on X. Not going to happen.
And there's actually some decent comments coming back from the people on X. Let's get to the first one here. Well, it's been over 2 years since the first hearing. Actually longer if you take the first two-way PTF hearing, which was the bombshell that started this thing. All we've seen from the government is sound bites and one drop all after another. Burchett has been key in this notable lack of real results. Oh, wow. Disclosure will not be coming from them until a real shot caller authorizes it. And I think this ties into something we were saying earlier this week, Mike, when it was stated that disclosure, maybe it was last week, disclosure won't be coming from Congress. It's either going to come from the White House, from a catastrophic whistleblower, or from a foreign government.
Right. We talked about that, yeah. So we're not going to be getting it unless it comes from the top. And right now, it doesn't look like anything is coming from the top at the moment.
Yep. Next one, Monkey Sage. They're trying to hide the alien demon creatures flying around in our skies that the Book of Ezekiel warned us about. Dag nabbit. I don't understand why Congress won't take me seriously. Even beyond that, Mike, what they need to be looking back to is the ancient Hindu text of the Mahabharata. It talks about the flying ships that they had back there, and the sky gods having the wars, and lightning bolts being thrown, and people dying on the surface. That's, we're probably talking tens of thousands of years ago, if not longer.
We've talked about the issues going back in India for thousands of years on this topic. I remember you had a picture of the Taj Mahal up, and we were talking about their beliefs and how far back it goes.
Yeah. Uh-oh.
So,
yeah.
What?
Looks like, Mike, breaking, there was no detectable climate warming in Canada since 1945. The extensive correlation reported by PhD physicist and data scientist Joseph McHinkey published today proves that the climate warming of Canada is false based on badly manipulated temperature data. Guess what? They found the same facts in the United States and in the United Kingdom as well. Could this all be an orchestrated rising of global temperatures for grifting?
Oh, that's interesting. If true.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's true.
Yeah.
They have a bunch of fake locations that are out there that they go ahead and create phantom data for. That seems to be the accepted model for understanding the science.
That doesn't really sound too accurate to me.
Oh, it doesn't.
No. More about money manipulation and grifting, it seems like.
Oh, it does. Oh, it does completely. Now we've got a clip, I believe, coming from the Weaponized podcast of Jacques Vallée says that more than 20 years ago, the U.S. government was already capable of establishing, quote, direct, structured communications with a non-human intelligence through a very sophisticated process conducted on an ongoing basis, controlled by under laboratory conditions at a secure facility we had never heard publicly referenced. You want to hear it?
Yeah, please.
Let's get to it. Here we go. And let's go to here. Let's play it.
Where this happened in government facilities, but nobody's talking about that. So I suspect that that's true based on the people I've met. But they were not the people who were running the program. So I cannot be completely sure, but what they described to me is a very sophisticated process by which we may be able to interact with the entities. Those are not the entities that are described at Trinity in my book. With Paola Harris. They are not the entities that were caught in Brazil that are, in that documentary. They are.
So, Mike, they're not the ones from Trinity. They're not the ones from Brazil. Two different types of enemy and non-human intelligence. Now we're talking about a third. Let's see where he takes this. This is interesting.
They may be the control.
Laura Campbell, go ahead before we move on.
Real quick, when you talked about communication, yes, I've heard this before. I can't disclose who talked about it, but I will give you a hint. Bryce Zabel and Brent Friedman are coming up with a new podcast starting in early 2026. The title of the show will be Sound, Light, and Frequency. Those are the secrets of the universe. And
oh, wow.
It's related to communication with the entities.
Interesting. Thanks for that.
That's a story that Bryce Zabel told for a long time.
Run with it a second, Mike.
Yeah, when he was creating his show, he had somebody at the premiere come up to him and told him that he worked for the government. And he said that he wanted to help as a technical advisor to give him correct information on what they were portraying in regards to the aliens on his show. And Bryce Zabel at the time told him, no, we wrapped production. We're going to be going, and the show is ready to go live. And I appreciate your input He didn't know who this guy was. He just walked right up to him at the party. And the guy gave him a business card. And he said, take this and put it away. And he said that in about 10 or 20 years, go back to it. And you'll realize that what I put on this card is very, very important. The truth will start to come out. And on it, on the back of the card, he wrote light, frequency, and what was the rest of the new show? What's it called?
Sound.
Sound. That's what this individual wrote on the back of the business card. And Bryce Zabel said that he still has the card, but that it's from 20 years ago, and he doesn't know where he had it in his house, and he was going to be looking for it. I would assume he found it. Yep. Because he's also doing the old Need to Know podcast with Richard Dolan. Mm-hmm. So now he's creating a new podcast.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that tells me he must have located that card, and there's more to it than what we originally heard. That sounds interesting.
I believe there is, and if everybody thinks about Steven Spielberg's first Close Encounters movie, there might have been a little more truth, not exactly how it was portrayed, but think about how they communicated. Just a little thought for everyone for tonight.
Well, they communicated at the end of that movie, from what I remember, with light and sound, right?
Mm-hmm.
Music.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that was the basis of the language that was used to interact with the gray aliens and the human beings.
Mm-hmm.
And Jacques Vallée was the technical advisor on that movie.
Interesting, huh? Okay, that's all I had.
Oh, that's a good one, Laura. Thanks.
Responding for the person in the audience who wanted me to play the pipes. Only kind of pipes I have here. I don't have bagpipes, but all right, some organs. Let's go ahead and play this. Back to Jacques Vallée. Here we go.
Maybe the controllers, or maybe the higher level entity. If what I'm told is true, the communication with them is very sophisticated and it's complex. So there may be a group that I would respect that has access to that. And this was from years ago, by the way. I mean, that report of that particular interaction was more than 20 years in a lab somewhere, in controlled conditions. If that's true, then there is a process ongoing where we may be able to acquire information at a very sophisticated level, and that would be, that could be a reason for stalling, quote, disclosure until there can be a rational way that we're not confronted with something so overpowering that it would destroy our culture and our society. I mean, we have enough to deal with AI.
Okay, so they're going to destroy our culture and our society, which is kind of pulling into religion. Are they really afraid that if the truth comes out on here, there's been a lot of things that have been said in the past, Laura, that, supposedly religion was a complex setup to go ahead and keep man under greater control by the non-human intelligence? Do you think that's what Jacques is pushing towards?
Perhaps conflicting religions.
Oh, like one other religion is going to say, yes, we're good, and the other one is going to say, you're a fake. That kind of a thing?
Perhaps. Or if you look at the books that Tom DeLonge was involved with, Secret Machines, the thought of perhaps these religions were created by the beings to keep humans separate and fighting.
Oh, because they're under control. If they keep them separated and fighting, that means there's aggression, there's hate, there's battle, there's war, there's people passing away and dying. And if they literally potentially consume our consciousness or a different way or our emotions, this is something, that hatred, that fuel that comes into it, that gives them the negative energy.
Or harvesting, yes.
Or harvesting, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Perhaps.
Oh, interesting. It gets better. Here we go.
Let's listen to it.
These things, which is, a foreign entity potentially.
But so you're saying you've been made aware that there is a government project, maybe it was 20 years ago, that was able to establish direct communication with a non-human intelligence, and that you believe this information to be true, and that this is a reality. This is what you understand to be true. Is that correct?
I cannot tell. Yes. It's factual. What I cannot tell is whether that the entity that was presented was a simulation of a real entity, or whether it was the real entity. Okay.
So what he's saying is, to try and translate his French to English, English back to French again, back to English. I think what he's saying on this one is potentially, Mike, that the communication they may be getting is not necessarily from the intelligence they think it is. It could be something like we're getting catfished by another alien to act like it's a different alien. Kind of what he's saying,
Maybe.
right?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. It sounds
Could
like
be that.
it. Yeah. Let's continue.
I wonder how they would determine that. That's what I'd like to know. Oh, it's a deep rabbit hole we can go down.
It's a deep. If we go back to some of the videos we have of Gordy Rose, who was the head of D-Wave, and they built the first commercial quantum-based computers sold the federal government, used around the world for doing things, and they talked about like they were dealing with an alien intelligence in the quantum realm. Could be something along those lines, could be something else. That's why they're saying it's something different than what we've seen in our different crash things, but he's not aligning it to something that we've seen in crashes. And plus, don't forget, we've also had a lot of people doing, if you want to call it, oh God, Laura, I need you for a second. What do you call it when someone actually goes dimensional and you have the entity that they're dealing with speaking through them?
Channeling.
Yes, channeling. We've had the stuff going on where you've had top engineers from Detroit and out of different parts of the United States going and channeling entities, one known as Ra, that gave us the whole law of one. So it could be something along those lines or something else. It's out of the normal realm of what we're dealing with. It could be more of a dimensional entity than just something that's popping in from here to there. Thanks for clarifying that.
The people I spoke to couldn't probe it to see if it was made of flesh or in metal or something else. Okay. But it was presented to them in a secure facility that I've never heard of anywhere else, where there was structured interaction with it on a continuing basis by specialists from different areas. The person I spoke to was an extreme, specialist in a particular discipline, and not a casual observer.
And so that could be kind of one of the reasons we have to be careful, or there's a slow rollout of disclosures, because you're saying we might already have communication with some
forms of communication or ways to engineer communication at a sophisticated level.
Very interesting. Mike, this ties back to conversations that we've had behind the scenes before about there being a potential non-human intelligence that's out there that we've been in contact with, that we may potentially have deals with. And then if they knew what we were doing and where we were with what's going on, any timelines that we were aware of or disclosed would be moved closer to today, because we're not doing what we promised what we would do.
What we agreed to do. We violated the terms of the contract.
Right.
Yeah. So that may very well be the case, like we reported on. We'll find out as time moves forward. But what I found interesting is the fact that Jacques Vallée was talking about his friend who is an extreme specialist that is participating in this program, but he went out of his way not to tell us exactly what the field was of science that his friend is involved in. I would have very much liked to have known that.
Well, I think we all
Because it'll
would.
give us insight into how they're communicating. But he left that part out. I wonder why.
Kyle, go ahead.
I'm surprised Vallée is still acknowledging Trinity.
Yes.
That book was thoroughly debunked. It was a fraud. It was.
It was. Yep. Well, because it was one of the books that he wrote, he got paid on it, and I also believe that he, even though it was debunked, I think he believes that the book that he wrote was true. So it's not that he's lying. I think he's an elderly gentleman. I think he's been at this longer than most of us have been alive. So I feel that he's earned a pass on that. Sometimes the facts are not that important in the grand scheme of things.
The scope of evidence that it was just completely fabricated by this Jose Padilla.
Yes, I'm familiar.
Outrageous and overwhelming, and all that was given to Jacques. I would, if I was him, I would be embarrassed and never mention it again.
Well,
if not, remove the book and do a retraction on it.
Well, you have to understand too, you're applying your American culture and how you were raised to this. Man, he comes from a completely different culture over there in France. They're not exactly the same as we are over here in America. So again,
but really quick, Mike, on that subject, there has been a lot more, if you want to call it acceptance, and if you want to call it research into the non-human intelligence in France going through Gaipan than there has been in the United States. The United States has this horrible stigma given to us against our scientists, our researchers, our public and everything with regards to researching the non-human intelligence. And we get shut down here all the time, but they've been doing serious research from the 60s onward.
Oh, absolutely. And Jacques Vallée has been over here in the United States since the 60s, working with our government towards disclosure. Plus, he created the database of all the UAP information over many, many decades, and was actively involved with that. And it got turned over to the Defense Intelligence Agency and then seemingly lost forever. So he's done very credible work. I think the man deserves a pass on something that, other than selling books, is not that big of a deal. I know it's been debunked. You'll get no argument from me on that. But
I admire him. I mean, I admire him.
I do too. And I'm saying, like we said earlier in the show, human beings make mistakes. It's been known to happen. And if somebody like Jacques Vallée made a mistake with that, I'm one to forgive him for that mistake.
And he was. In his defense, he was secondary on that book. There was a woman, researchers who came up with it,
and the behind the scenes
and brought it to him.
And the behind the scenes story about that is that woman that was on that book is the one primarily who the book was about, and he was, from what I understand, involved in an affair with her. So I think his judgment was off on it because of the romantic involvement. And that very well could have been the case. If there's any of us out there that is part of the male part of the human race, we have been known to sometimes make mistakes when it concerns the opposite sex. So again, I would tend to overlook that.
Mike?
If that's what he's guilty of. Yeah.
Guilty as charged. That makes sense.
Mike, I have a great example of this coming from New York. I've got the video queued and you pulled it in directly. You ready for it?
Go right ahead.
I think this guy's from New York. Not the sharpest pencil in a box, but let's watch this and enjoy.
Spell fat.
F-A-T.
Spell her.
H-E-R.
Okay, what is it together?
Fat her. What?
Are you sure?
Yeah, fat her. What's so funny? I'm saying it right.
Okay, are you sure?
I don't get it.
Yes, fat her.
I get it.
Are you guys making fun of me? What?
Together. Fat
her.
and her.
Spell it.
F-A-T-H-E-R.
What does that spell?
Fat her.
Sound it out.
Fat her.
F-A-T-H-E-R. What is
Huh?
that? F-A-T-H-E-R. What is that? What word is that?
F-A-T-H-E-R?
Yeah, what is that?
Fat her. What, am I fucking stupid or what?
Yes, you are.
You are.
Well, fuck you guys. I'm getting mad. I'm serious.
Spell it out together.
F-A-T-H-E-R. Fat her. Stop. I'm getting really fucking upset. F-A-T-H-E-R. Fat her. You guys are making me mad for real.
All right.
All right, Mike. Good example.
Yeah. Something like that.
Sometimes guys don't see what's right in front of their face.
No. That happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we're communicating with them. Well, that's something you and I have talked about here on the show for a long time now.
Yeah.
We said that they're not running around and not having any contact and doing whatever they're doing. There has to be some way for us to be communicating with them. If it wasn't for that, I think things probably would have been more aggressive than what we've seen so far to date.
Yeah.
We would have had no control at all, and they could have done really horrible things if that's what they wanted to do.
But
the fact that there has been communication has probably kept things as peaceful as they've been.
But how many times have we had this communication going on? Remember, humans have been on this planet advanced for hundreds of thousands of years. But every 8,000, 12,000 years, the surface gets wiped out and we start again. So this isn't the first time, and it probably won't be the last time we're in contact with them.
Well, what did Jacques Vallée say? He said that they are teaching us an advanced form of communication to be able to use specialists in scientific fields to work together to be able to form this type of communication where we understand each other. So they're teaching us, from what I heard.
Yeah.
Right. So it's 20 years, you said, going on, at least, if not longer?
Yeah.
Probably since right after Roswell, I'd have to say.
Could have been before.
Yeah, well, could have been, but probably around that time frame.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
It's the only thing that makes sense logically, if you think about it. Because without it, we'd be completely at their mercy. And we're not. Got to be a reason for that. I'd like to know more about this communication program.
Yeah.
Got my curiosity.
Well, I think it's got all of our curiosity, Mike. Who are they? Where are they from? When did they come here? How long have they been fucking with humanity? You know, let's just come down to is what the hell are they doing here? Let's start with that.
So that would be one of the first questions. But now I wonder, for them to be teaching us how to build something like this, there has to be some interaction. And he said they think that whatever is appearing is an avatar, not actually the intelligence itself. Isn't it? Didn't he say something like that? It could be a holographic projection of some image that's not necessarily who they actually are.
Right. They're getting we could be getting catfished.
Oh, like on the internet. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. No,
why would all of a sudden they be honest with us? Just think about how they hide and deceive and lurk in the shadows all the time, just out of the scope of what humans can see. They're not being upfront.
No, they're not.
Jay, go ahead.
The only reason why I believe they'd be upfront with us if they've already had an agenda and they're trying to make it come to fruition. And they're saying, oh, well, you know, these humans here, we just go ahead and communicate with them like we did last time and do the same exact thing.
It could be it.
Well, the only example I can give you is during the Second World War, when Nazi Germany was invading foreign countries. One of the key things that they utilized in every foreign country they were in is they needed to work with certain members of that population. They could have just came in and either killed everybody or conquered them, but they didn't. They always found a way to work with members of that population, to work with them to control that country. Because when you are an occupying force, even if you have great numbers and arms, you still have to be able to communicate and interact on a level that population you're controlling can understand and accept. That's why they did it. So it doesn't surprise me if they're doing the same thing with us down here on Earth. It actually makes sense.
And that's like you were talking about, or somebody was talking about with the Bible and everything, with it being structured in a way that it's written so that we're kept in control. We're kept in different control mechanisms so that they can control the narrative. I mean, it's a book written by man. Man is faulty, so
to control man. But you're talking really about Christianity on a lot of different events because, well, even if you look at the New Testament, how many lines in the New Testament are actually written by Jesus Christ himself?
None. But that's what I'm saying. Like you can take it's like the old saying, you know, you can start from right here and I could pass a message to you, Thomas, through 1,000 people and it'd be totally different.
Oh God, we learned how to do that stuff in like first or second grade. You start with the secret, you pass it around, and by the time you get to the other spot, it changed, and you go back and figure out where it changed. You know, talking about
so just think like all these cataclysms, right? You're talking about a reset and everything. Every time civilian resets, they try to make it an upgrade on the next reset on civilization. Yeah. Well, they not an upgrade on us, but upgrade on them dealing with us. On their
process they use to interact with us, manipulate us, lead us in a direction that's not for our benefit, it's for their benefit.
No, and it's like it's also like what they were talking about, that it could be an illusion or an avatar or a.
So you don't think UAPs use optical camouflage?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I think that if you're looking at an ET, your perception has a lot to do with it. Now, if they're coming down to like, okay, I've heard feed off of emotions, right? So if you think of, okay, you're sitting there and you're in your bed and all of a sudden this giant whatever comes out of your bed and it's something you're scared of.
Fear.
That's what they wanted to do.
Why do you think I say, granted it came from, what do you call it? Ben Davidson, Suspicious Observers. At the end of his episode, he says, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everyone. But the reason I say it is when you deal with this shit, you have to have your eyes open and you can't be afraid, because if you're afraid, you're under their control and you'll never make the right decisions to get the fuck out of it. That's why I always say eyes open, no fear, because you cannot have fear, and probably because they feast on it.
Exactly. And that's also brings me to the next one, Loosh. Everybody talks about Loosh being an energy source, that they, L-U-S-H, that they are energy source that they get from us, you know, like an emotional energy.
Oh, yeah.
So, I mean, it's a bunch of things, but my main thing is that the Bible is a control mechanism for us.
Religion is itself as a control complex to control man, written by man to control man. But if you want to find more of an interesting complex, get out of the Judeo-Christian Muslim area, go ahead and check out what they have in the Mahabharata. Very, very interesting, completely different way. It's more of a way of life to a degree in some of it, but the stuff that they have in there, holy shit, it is well
Either
beyond the
that
Book
or
of Enoch.
anything out there, also like the King's List that goes on for 50,000.
Oh, you're talking about the Sumerians' King's List.
Yes, those guys were alive for hundreds of years and stuff, and then you've got so many things out there that say that. Go ahead.
You know what I love about the Sumerians?
Yeah.
Their writing is on clay tablets, which means you can't erase it and rewrite it on top of it and change it. Once it's in clay and it's in baked, it's there permanently.
Exactly. And also the Book of Enoch. There was a lot of books that were taken out of the Bible that I don't even know. I don't know. If it was in the Bible, if it was written for the Bible, my feelings are. Make your own opinion. Put it all.
Yeah,
in
but
there.
we're dealing with popes from going back hundreds, or over 1,000 years, who decided no, we don't want to have it there. I am the leader of the church. I don't agree with it. Pull it out. The books of Mary Magdalene were taken out too, I believe.
No, that's a big one. Yeah, Mary Magdalene. That's a big one to be pulled
Oh
out.
Oh yeah. But getting into the world back in more recent times, we're talking about aliens and different stuff that it's out there. We've heard from Elon Musk saying, I don't know anything about extraterrestrials, right? Going ahead and pushing back on it. However, have you heard of Palmer Luckey before?
Yes, I have.
Oh, yeah. Same here. And not that one. He's come out recently. I won't play the video clip yet because I need to go ahead and make sure I can play it without getting spanked on this one. So we'll play it tomorrow. Palmer Luckey, who's the founder of defense technology firm Anduril, yes, Industries, which is military contractors. They make missiles, they make drones. They just came up with a whole new missile platform for Japan. That uses all their local domestic technology. So they're leveraging stuff. And yes, while he looks like a surfer dude and how he dresses, he's got cargo shorts and a Hawaiian shirt. He's my kind of guy for that matter. But he says that UFOs come from the past. Yes, they are technology from an ancient breakaway civilization that survived the cyclical event. They are piggybacking on the current civilization and use us as resources. There's also an interdimensional aspect, which is more important than anything physical or materialistic and is directly connected to evolution. Elon needs to take a note on this one.
Yeah.
This is the first time we've actually had a military contractor, a leading one, come forward and actually pull the alien card and saying, yeah, this shit is real. Oh, they're breakaway civilization, which that aligns with what Grush said, isn't it?
Yeah. And the interdimensional aspect of it as well.
Oh, yeah. There we go. So I think this guy may be giving us the best shtick that's out there so far with regards to the truth of what's going on. And he looks like he's got nothing to lose. Good for him.
Yeah, he's very, very wealthy. He has nothing to lose or gain by saying this.
Because all the governments want his technology, want his firm's abilities.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah. Lots of fun stuff out there. Lots of fun stuff beyond the trolls. There's still stuff happening. It's more in the sphere of disclosure, but it's not like we're getting the government ready to come and give us the facts. Yes, he actually did come up with Oculus, and he sold that to Facebook. And then he went and started this company. The guy's a genius. Good for him.
Yeah, he is.
All right. I think we've about covered everything there is to cover here today, Mike. Is there anything we missed?
No, I don't think so. I think it was a great conversation. And I think we've covered a lot of stuff tonight.
Oh, yeah. For a night when we didn't think we had a lot of stuff to cover, we sure as hell covered a lot.
We did. Some interesting things and also really good conversation. It was fun.
And Granny's rheumatism medicine helped. Feeling like shit.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. On that note. Anything else from anyone in the back? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Don't hold it for too long or too hard, though.
That's what she said. All right, on that note, I want to go ahead and thank everybody for your wonderful super chats tonight. Who am I talking about? Let's go in reverse order. Turn off this auto chat. Nancy, thank you. Nancy K, Anne Marie, Steve Hines, Mr. Catfish 2100. Thank you very much for these post-Christmas wishes. We appreciate it greatly. Shelley Montgomery, Frank T, and Daryl is here. Appreciate everyone's love and support for everything we do here on Disclosure tonight. Appreciate it, little Ferrari, my friend. On that note, Mike, I want to thank you and Gene and Jay and everyone in the back for coming forward, and Brian for participating tonight.
Oh, you're more than welcome, my friend.
I don't mean to interrupt you, Mike, but yes, thank you for having me. And if I can add one quick thing, Thomas, Lou Elizondo just said he was replying to somebody's tweet. Would you go on an X space with Red Panda Koala, Chupacabra, UFO Joe, and Project Unity to clear things, Lou? And Lou says, nothing to clear with liars. Happy New Year. Anyways, have a good evening.
Oh, my God. Hold on a second. Thank you for that breaking news. Got a bookmarks.
Yeah, Lou has been active the whole time we've been on the show tonight.
Well, Mike, you're supposed to say breaking news.
No, it's okay.
Mike, I sent you a text. Anyways.
What do you mean it's not news?
He's fighting the trolls.
Well, I love it. Okay, here we go. Let's bring this up. Last moment of the day. Where's it at? Desktop Thomas. All right. So Daniel Jimenez said, would you go on an X space with Red Panda Koala and Chupacabra 2, the UFO Joe, and the Project Unity? Clear things, Lou. He said, nothing to clear with liars. Happy New Year. Another one. Are you bending spoons too now, Lou? Everything's eventual. Yes, trying to. Why not? If you can try and do it, let's go for it.
No. There's a video with bending spoons. That's what he put up on his other post.
We are looking for answers, and Lou says we all are. So thank you for Lou putting this out there. Gilbert said, Happy New Year's, Mr. Elizondo. Thank you, sir, and may you have a great New Year. But I think this is to Gilbert and everybody else out there. Gotta love Lou Elizondo for actually going out there and, interacting with the audience. We all love it, my friend.
Actually, maybe we should play that clip that Lou put out there. I'll send it to you. Give me a second.
I'm already
there. Bending of the spoons. It's for the.
I'm already there. Is it on his account?
It's on his account. Yeah.
I don't. It must be a reply because I'm not. He's got an REM video.
Yep, that's the one.
But it's a bending spoon song from REM that I cannot play a song from REM.
That's right. It's copyrights. I forgot. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can play it.
Either way, it's for anybody who's out there. Just look at Lou Elizondo on X. You can go ahead and catch it out. Eh, Mike?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, and wish everybody a late Merry Christmas. And we will have we got a show tomorrow, and we'll have a show coming up for New Year's Eve. We always have one. Hopefully we can get Rick back for that one, Mike.
Maybe, yeah. We'll reach out.
Oh, that was a blast last year, yeah. Yeah. Well, on that note, as we usually say at the end of every episode of Disclosure tonight, eyes open, no fear, be safe, everybody. But where is it at?
Go back to Party City where you belong.
Absolutely. We'll catch you on the flip side. Good night, everybody. Y'all come back now here. Take care. Bye-bye.